and the media
Yes,
owner.
I'm Peter. Yeah, I'm Peter. I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. Good to have you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Tina Debo from Houston, Texas.
Great. So you got up early also in the morning?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what time
Absolutely.
is it in Houston right now?
It's 5:42.
Oh, okay. I am in Pennsylvania, and it is 6:41, 42. So, okay. So we both woke up early.
Yeah.
So good morning, Amos. So thank you very much for waking up us so early in the morning. Amos, can you hear us?
No, he's still trying to connect his audio.
Okay. But you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can hear you. Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Good afternoon.
Good
Good afternoon all. Good afternoon all.
Good afternoon, good morning, whatever. Okay.
Yeah, that's all right. It's still morning over there. That's true.
It's still morning.
Good morning all.
Good morning.
Good morning, yes.
Sorry, I was actually having challenge with some other participants, which we tried sorting them out before getting back. So thank you so much, everyone. I quite appreciate your joining our Prof. Thank you so much. I know this is pretty early for you, and particularly the US participants. You're welcome. Thank you so very much.
Yes,
Mr.
thank you.
Olusegun Rame, I have Peter Luca from Tech Economy. Thank you.
Okay, good.
And I think as the other participants join in, we'll just go straight down to perhaps I just want to tell you the essence of this program, that it was actually born out of the need for Nigeria as an example of a typical developing country to perhaps look at the way COVID-19 has actually affected its economies, its social well-being, and perhaps every facet of life. So we decided today that with the wealth of the network, of the global network that Programos Foundation has always had, for us to even be connected with the UN ICT4SIDS, where we have Professor Amjad Umar here of the Harrisburg University, always ever ready to share with us, not minding that we're that at the bottom of development, but of course the whole world know that we mean what we perhaps want to do going forward from now, and he's always willing to share. And look at the honor again of having Dr. Mrs. Martina Edebo. Incidentally, she's into education, and I know she's actually, there's so much she's doing in the United States, and she's a very passionate Nigerian that is also influencing education, the redevelopments in Nigeria particularly, and most especially in the faculty development aspects, which Prof would actually agree with me that even in the need to redevelop youth in smart society, in a smart city education development, you need actually some set of people to get to even understand the technicalities of what is involved, so that there will be at the bottom of the pyramid a larger and broad expansion of this quality education that can make us attain the digital economy that we desire. Before the program actually gets to start, we felt that we should get the media particularly involved, because if you agree with me, the media is actually one of those set of services that is also impacted by the rate of COVID-19. So we have with us here very eminent media practitioners here in the country, from IT Edge editor and publisher, Mr. Segun Orame there, and we also have more. I'm sure one actually is having a session right now. I'm sure at the presidency, he's actually in charge of the Buhari Media Organization, and he'll be joining us much later on. We felt we need to really carry them along to help us influence leadership space, for them to get to understand that emerging technologies is not strange anymore. Every administrator today has to imbibe the innovation that is available by homegrown or diaspora developments and solutions that are meant to solve social problems, so that we really do not have to start telling stories, strange stories anymore today, because the days of conferencing is over. It should be practicalities. And I've actually sworn that in my past years of having to visit the United States, and every time we're always, myself and Professor Amjad always were there with the Info Poverty World Conference. We go there to talk. I feel going forward from next year, we should be reporting data, we should be reporting activity of trying to take actions and solving at least a combination of the 17 SDGs in this country, that we should be having data to report from Nigeria, and not just that we are talking to air. So this is actually part of the reasons we feel the provocation that we have had based on the emergence of COVID-19, I think is well enough that today we should be able to sow these seeds for it to germinate and make us to benefit and make sure this actually gets started as much as we can get. My media practitioners will actually get us to get started. But before then, I just want to share a documentary that we did, though not completed totally, because obviously we can't do a documentary on our services. We can't fully cover everything, but obviously we'll try a bit to try to see how well we can go with it. So I'll share my screen to just share this documentary a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. One moment, please.
The world is changing. Cities are evolving. With adoption and deployment of digital technologies, cities are now more than brick and mortar. They are becoming innovatively functional and aspirational. Communities are becoming smart. Smart cities are the future.
The basic elements required in a smart city: two things: electricity, constant electricity, and high-speed internet.
In a smart city, the goal is to address growing urbanization challenges with a digital framework. The framework is an intelligent network of connected objects and machines that transmit data using wireless technology and the cloud.
A village with electricity and high-speed internet is already smart.
Smart cities can improve energy distribution, streamline trash collection, decrease traffic congestion, and even improve air quality with help from the Internet of Things.
The right leadership with the right vision, I think, can be able to deliver and change some of our cities to smart cities.
Programos Foundation is today a major advocate for the development of smart and connected communities and cities in Nigeria. The COVID-19 pandemic devastated the world, but it has also demonstrated just how much digital innovations are needed to serve the society. Innovations that make the people smarter, better connected, healthier, precipitating solutions that have a positive impact and relevant local content. Amos Emmanuel, chairman of Programos Foundation, constant refrain is that change does not happen on its own. It is influenced by people who innovate. He is always calling and urging innovators to rise and occupy leadership positions in every part of the world, particularly in Nigeria. He is a firm believer that the world innovation cannot be complete without leadership contribution from Africa and especially Nigeria. Programos Foundation Africa, tapping into the growing, the digital awareness, has taken up the challenge to help the continent progress. Programos Foundation was established in 2009 by Programos Software Limited, a long-standing leader in the capital market financial technology subsector that saw the need to fund activities, help realize the goal to deliver innovation-bed ecosystem for Nigerians. Amos Emmanuel, Chairman, Chief Software Architect for Programos Software Group, is a prolific software designer and entrepreneur. He has served as ICT backbone to numerous financial institutions in Nigeria with over 25 years experience automating and maintaining more than 100 capital market operator organizations in Nigeria and Ghana with the multiple award-winning Cloud Integra. He is the UN World Summit Awards eminent national expert for Nigeria.
I think I was on the wrong.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
Right. I'll take that up now.
Managing your projects should feel more like this. That's why
Programos.
Okay. Internet was part of it.
Is changing. Cities are evolving. With adoption and deployment of digital technologies, cities are now more than brick and mortar. They are becoming innovatively functional and aspirational. Communities are becoming smart. Smart cities are the future.
The basic elements required in a smart city, two things: electricity, constant electricity, and high-speed internet.
In a smart city, the goal is to address growing urbanization challenges with a digital framework. The framework is an intelligent network of connected objects and machines that transmit data using wireless technology and the cloud.
A village with electricity and high-speed internet is already smart.
Smart cities can improve energy distribution, streamline trash collection, decrease traffic congestion, and even improve air quality with help from the Internet of Things.
You know, the right leadership with the right vision, I think, can be able to deliver and change some of our cities to smart cities.
Programos Foundation is today a major advocate for the development of smart and connected communities and cities in Nigeria. The COVID-19 pandemic devastated the world, but it has also demonstrated just how much digital innovations are needed to serve the society. Innovations that make the people smarter, better connected, healthier, precipitating solutions that have a positive impact and relevant local content. Amos Emmanuel, Chairman of Programos Foundation, constant refrain is that change does not happen on its own. It is influenced by people who innovate. He is always calling and urging innovators to rise and occupy leadership positions in every part of the world, particularly in Nigeria. He is a firm believer that the world innovation cannot be complete without leadership contribution from Africa and especially Nigeria. Programos Foundation Africa, tapping into the growing, the digital awareness, have taken up the challenge to help the continent progress. Programos Foundation was established in 2009 by Programos Software Limited, a long-standing leader in the capital market financial technology subsector that saw the need to fund activities help realize the goal to deliver innovation-bed ecosystem for Nigerians. Amos Emmanuel, Chairman, Chief Software Architect for Programos Software Group, is a prolific software designer and entrepreneur. He has served as ICT backbone to numerous financial institutions in Nigeria with over 25 years experience automating and maintaining more than 100 capital market operator organizations in Nigeria and Ghana with the multiple award-winning Cloud Integra. He is a UN World Summit Awards eminent national expert for Nigeria. Programos Foundation is engaged in significant work. It is helping Africa harness the power of technology. It is teaching Africa to innovate. The impressive and groundbreaking work that Programos Foundation has pioneered is particularly important in the light of the United Nations UN Decade of Action on the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. The Decade of Action calls for accelerating sustainable solutions to all the world's biggest challenges, ranging from poverty and gender to climate change, inequality, and closing the finance gap. Technology promises to play a larger-than-life role in this quest. Programos Foundation, through its work, offers Africa a huge chance and gives her a massive advantage. Programos Foundation may well be Africa's linchpin. Two important segments of Programos Foundation's multi-pronged approach include the Innovationbed Africa and SmartCity project. Innovationbed Africa is playing a strategic role in identifying and promoting indigenous solutions. Since it emerged on the scene, Innovationbed has made steady progress. Today, it is a go-to organic platform for startups' incubation and multiplication. Without a doubt, Innovationbed SDGs framework offers Africans a community-based collaborative hub in the areas of mentorship, innovation capacity, development, and entrepreneurship. Indeed, the emergence of an entrepreneurial bespoke IT ecosystem is perhaps the best way to precipitate the growth of the ICT sector with the development of relevant and functional solutions. The way Innovationbed works is to constantly explore the relationship between technology and broader social issues. Everywhere Africa appears to be behind, Innovationbed has become a bridge builder, an aggregator, and facilitator. It is spearheading efforts to contribute to efforts to build a digital ecosystem for innovation development in Africa. Innovationbed has incredible long-standing strategic initiative research partners, including the Global Digital Foundation, ICT4SIDS, Info Poverty World Conference, Oparazone Global, and Amiable UN World Summit Awards, WSA, eminent national experts from over 180 countries. These alliances have funded Innovationbed to advance actions towards the UN Sustainable Development Goal from across the respective countries. The World Summit Awards are a unique award system selecting and promoting local digital innovation to improve society, combining an ongoing series of international events and activities with a global network of startups, social entrepreneurs, mentors, jurors, speakers, experts, government leaders, academia, civil society. WSA is an international platform for cutting-edge examples of how ICTs can impact society positively. Innovationbed coordinates Nigeria's participation. The vision is clear: to address Africa's greatest socio-economic challenges through innovative technology solutions by offering opportunity platforms for growing quality and knowledgeable generation of startups in the new nation-building transformation agenda. Innovationbed Startup Opportunities Gateway incubates for promotion, growing innovative African startups and impacting the ecosystem positively. In Nigeria, members of the Innovation Council comprise of outstanding digital entrepreneurs who have at one time or the other researched, designed, and developed great innovation with positive social impact on the Nigerian society and beyond. Programos Foundation's involvement in technology solutions embraces Smart City. First is the appreciation of the fact that a smart city is not a computer. A smart city is a city that uses ICT to increase operational efficiency, share information with the public, and improve both the quality of government services and citizen welfare. The economic realities indicate that as more and more people move to urban areas, cities will struggle to cope with the influx of people. The need to create smart cities is becoming all the more unavoidable. Smart cities will make urban areas more livable and truly sustainable. Programos Foundation is actively working to promote smart city solutions.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, so thank you. I had to stop that because I'm sure we cannot tell all the stories, but this has actually given us an idea of where and what we all mean to say today, that the public space in Nigeria truly needs to see how they understand this, and let alone after that, they need to really kind of project the kind of will that can enable us be able to win at the end of the day. So permit me to say that this is just the bit of the story, and we think taking it up from here, we might perhaps just first take an introduction so that we can get going. So permit me to just start by perhaps just calling in no special order so that we can just give an intro as we just get started. Let me just start the event by tapping on Professor Amjad. So thank you so much, sir, for being able to join us at this time. We know what time it is in the US at this time, but obviously I know for the passion, you are here with us. So Professor Amjad.
Okay, thank you very much, Amos, for inviting me to this session. I am glad to be here. I will just take only a few minutes to talk about what I am doing, and later on I will talk about whenever is the opportunity to talk about actually a workshop, a free hands-on type of a workshop on smart cities and communities that I have developed. Basically, what I'm doing right now is I am teaching graduate level courses at Harrisburg University of Science and Technology. I'm a professor and director of the Information Systems and Engineering program at Harrisburg University. And I am teaching graduate level courses on strategic planning, on enterprise architectures and integration. And right now, I just have started teaching a course on smart cities and communities. This course is going very well. We have full classes of people. This is the third time that we are teaching this course, and our maximum class size is 30 students. So right now, we have so much demand that right now in the class, instead of 30 students, we have 45 students. So the interest in the students and also in the community on smart cities and how to actually get educated in this area and also then use the knowledge is very high. We are already planning to take this particular course and use it in different parts of Pennsylvania and then also other parts of the United States. And of course, I am also chief architect of the United Nations ICT4SIDS partnership, and we are forming these smart hubs in different parts of the world that concentrate on different aspects of smart cities. Like all smart cities have to offer health, education, public safety, public welfare, housing, and all of those basic capabilities. So my work with the United Nations has been mainly to develop a computer-aided planning tool that allows communities, cities, organizations to build these smart hubs, and these smart hubs are then interconnected with each other. So I'm using my knowledge that I'm gaining, and that's how I actually met Amos, my good friend Amos a long time ago, was at a UN conference where we were talking about the developments. So my work has been very heavily oriented towards building a computer-aided planning tool that people with different backgrounds can use very quickly to launch smart cities, smart communities, smart villages, smart community centers. Very, very quickly, within a day, they can have a completely launched system. So instead of talking about all these things, what I have been doing is I've been working on building this computer-aided platform that can help governments in different parts of the world to really launch initiatives, and also about the innovation beds and the idea of partnerships and participation of the youth. It is very good to get the youth involved in innovation and entrepreneurship, but they need some ideas, what exactly to do. So these hubs that we are forming right now in health and education and public safety, public welfare, and other topic areas, they are becoming a basis for the youth to start their own businesses. So we help them, and without any cost, we build a smart hub for them. And in some cases, we provide them very small but basic seed money to get started. And then within a year, they are on their own and they're running a very successful business. So this is not just talk. This is not just discussions. This is actual work that is affecting the lives of the people. So I'm very glad to have the opportunity on one side to be a university professor and teach not only the students, but also some of the government officials in Pennsylvania and other places in this area, but also work with different organizations in Pakistan, in Sri Lanka, in Maldives, in Solomon Island, of course, in Nigeria. I have worked, done a lot of projects with Nigeria on IMAS, and I'm also working with Ghana, Togo. So we have about 35 or so countries that we have projects on. So but they are real projects, working with real people, helping them to make the difference through digital transformation. So I'll be glad to talk more in more detail about this free workshop. I want to make sure that it is very clearly understood that there is a difference between a course and a workshop. In a workshop, you actually build a solution. So this is a workshop that I have designed where it is 6 weeks course, and Amos and I have designed it together. It's 6 weeks, 1 hour a week type of a session, hands-on session using hands-on tools. But in 6 weeks, the people are enabled, they get the basic foundational knowledge and also have an actual working system at the end of it. So it really is a workshop where they learn something, but then try it out very quickly and so that they can use it. So I will talk about it later on whenever I have an opportunity. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. So thank you so much, Prof. Thank you so much, Professor Amjad. I will always appreciate you any day. I know this journey has been there for almost a decade right now, but then we can't fast track until we track to make it happen. So permit me, my media experts in the house, because it would be better you listen to some of these things to inform why we were advocating for media for innovation today on this program. So next, I will take on Dr. Mrs. Martina to tell us what she does, and perhaps she will later share more. But then before she starts, I want to just say that the impact of COVID-19 on teachers, on the entire education system, particularly in Nigeria, has been a real serious affair. Based on the little information I'm getting, within the time of this pandemic, a whole lot of institutional organizations have really gone under. So they are really in a big distress. Is it in terms of teaching capacity, teaching personnel, the school itself, the business itself, because education is business. So I think there is really a major challenge, and I don't really think the government really have a real one straight formula to curing this problem. Fine, we all go online, we have cloud education tools and all of that, but then there's still a foundational problem. So then this is why we think, how from your own perspective of where things work, how can we be saved? Thank you, madam.
Okay, this is just an introduction, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, hi, how are you doing? I'm Dr. Martina Debo. I reside in Houston. I've been in Houston now for 39 years. I'm a career educator. I actually started as a geophysicist and transitioned into education. I have worked with a lot of schools in America and a lot of schools in Nigeria. And over this 1 year period or 7-month period during the party is this, that teachers have to be trained. They have to be trained on how to use technology. They have to be trained on how to effectively teach within the new environment that they find themselves. So what I've been doing is I've been hosting a lot of training webinars one-on-one mentorships with schools and with teachers on how to use the existing technologies, because it's really difficult to just take everything that works in America and take it to Nigeria. Nigeria has its own innate issues that need to be considered. But I've been training them for about 7 months now. But prior to that, for the past 12 years, I have been doing a lot of hands-on workshops in Nigeria and in Houston. I would say I'm an educational consultant, but I'm also an academic coach. I'm a member of the Educational Reformers platform. I'm a member of the Teaching Transformation platform. And I right now, with a lot of schools are focusing on STEM and science, well, STEAM-based instructional methodology. The one that I'm going to be talking about today is what I have tried to develop to say, okay, this is the need in Nigeria, understanding that Nigeria is a mixture of urban and rural areas, and we can't just focus on the urban. We can't just focus on the main cities. How do we get instruction? How do we get these students who are in these rural areas also trained, also taught? And then the last thing it's a passion for me is that most of these rural areas depend on youth service members to do the teaching. So how do we make sure that when they get into the classroom, they're actually teaching students at a quality level using the technology that's available? There are many different models, but there's a model that I like to use related to technology and the use of technology, which is the SAM-R model. And I'll talk a little bit about that during my presentation. But basically, my goal is to ensure that students get the quality education they deserve. COVID-19 should not deprive students of education. But what I have found is that teachers they don't have a comfort level with technology. And as a result, they're functioning at the very lowest level. They're struggling at the very lowest level. And if the teacher is struggling, then the students are struggling. So we need to develop a system where the teachers can be comfortable within this new environment. And then the last thing I do is I work with parents, because during the lockdown, the parents become the surrogate teachers. And if they're not comfortable with technology, that's a big issue. So anyway, so when I do my presentation, I'll go over the different models, and I'll also talk about how I develop those models.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so very much. So thank you so very much. I think let me just go straight to the media experts I have in the house. Mr. Segun Rame, Peter Oluka in the house, and I think I have Mr. Omoni. My name by name. Is it still on? I think it's been on, but then for the media, let's just see how we can judge her on this, because on a fair note, media in itself has also been impacted by COVID-19. So as a result of this, Mr. Rame, how do you think, Mr. Rame, so how would you think that using the medium that you specialize in, you can actually speak to the minds of leaders so that they can actually begin to learn, because technology has become very simple now and available to almost every human being. So, but then here we have leaders who perchance may be presidents, they may be governors, they may be local government chairmen, councillors, and the rest of it. Once they become empowered by people's votes to become their chairmen, councillors, and the likes, most of the time what they know is what they learned in school, but not perhaps how well they can actually, put the mechanism to power the leadership position that they have. So how can the media improve that will? How can the media really help That will, please, sir.
Yeah, I would rather want to put it this way. I think often other stakeholders tend to underplay what the media has been doing to impact on how transformational decisions are taken by leaders, by political leaders, if you like. The media, has always been, a platform to inform or educate people on what's happening. Now, within the technology space, particularly the kind of media genre that I report, which is ICT. I think, in fairness to the media has always set the agenda on how policy makers or public sector decision makers usually take their decisions. In terms of informing those that are decision makers as to how technology is evolving and what is the direction of technology. What has happened this year, in a very interesting manner, is that COVID-19, the pandemic, has forced decision makers to move the direction in which the media has been, prophesizing, if you like, trying to force them to move into. That is to say, how do you begin to use video conferencing to cut down on expenditure in how government or people in government relate? That platform has always been there. The media has always made a case that this technology can be used for instance, cut down on cost. Now, what COVID-19 has done, what the pandemic has done, particularly in Nigeria, let me be very specific, to utilize technology resource to take public decisions that affect millions of people. Now, all this traveling from all the 36 states of Nigeria, all this physical convergence in Abuja no longer happen. The market for technology like video conferencing, and messaging are fall increased. They fall expanded. And so when you ask the question, how can the media influence public decision makers or other stakeholders? I'm saying that the media has always done the job of influencing, done the job of informing, done the job of enlightening, educating, and then partnering with other stakeholders to set the agenda for change. If you look at innovation in the context of change and disruption, the media has always set that agenda, I dare say.
Thank you. So thank you very much, Mr. Rame. Well, joining us, we have Madam Khadijat. She's actually the lead and head of innovation at the the Bureau for Information Communication Technology in Bauchi State. Welcome, Madam.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all.
Well done, Madam. Welcome. So before you're joining us, we've been on and we're just taking some notes from media experts. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
So,
thank you, sir.
Mr. Peter, sir. Perhaps we can take your introduction. So much I must say you guys have been doing, because I've actually been defending you. I think one particular person that should be here will be able to say it was actually strange. He was actually surprised that I was saying that the media in Nigeria are doing so much. But then Mr. Peter, he's actually the editor, Tech Economy, because we follow your works.
Okay, can I go ahead?
Go ahead, please, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Peter Oluka. Like Mr. Amos have said, thank you so much for this opportunity, Mr. Amos. And I must commend Programos Foundation for what you have been doing in the tech ecosystem in Nigeria. Not just tech ecosystem in Nigeria, but ICT in general. It shows passion, it shows drive, and it shows intent to make things to get things right. And I'm happy that it's rubbing off now, going across Africa through Innovationbed Africa. So this is the way to go. Okay. And so what is our role in the media to see that this baby is weaned and it sits it crawls, sits, runs, moves and runs. So, like I'm taking for what Mr. Orome have said. Media have core functions in the society. That's where they are regarded as the fourth estate of the realm. They have core functions, which is to inform, educate, entertain. But I'm going to add something again based on the new media, social media, digital media. Now we are now talking about engagement economy. So what the media is doing now is providing that platform whereby the policy makers and policy drivers and those who the policies are going to affect will converge and do what? And have a discussion. I'll give you an instance. Recently, the Nigerian government wanted to came up with a social media bill, whereby they wanted to make policies, to restrict people. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yes.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, very well. Go ahead.
Okay. So the Nigerian government came up with a social media bill, and in that bill, there are some clauses in that bill that were anti-innovation, anti-technology, creativity. So the media highlighted these points, and that was what led to public debate on that bill. And I can tell you that after that public debate, the Senate were not able to pass that bill because the media told them that passing this bill means that you are stifling innovation and you are trampling upon the creativity of the people. So in that way, media was able to highlight the dangers involved in therein. Secondly, we need to understand that media cannot be separated from the culture of the people. In China, for instance, where they practice communism, the media tend to follow what government is saying because that is the system of government that the people have adopted. Fortunately enough, we in Nigeria we are in democracy and present system of government, but there are still part of our culture that have not allowed us to leverage the media as it were. Media have been highlighting so many things. Media have been outspoken. Media have showcased what we need to do and what we should not do. But the thing is this: one thing is to say something, another thing is for the person you are telling to adopt it, accept it. I can tell you that because of media involvement, today we have Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy. No, whether the nomenclature or not, but because of the media keep highlighting that there's need to have that separate ministry. Media, we are the vanguard canvassing for NITDA as an agency to be established. And today we have NITDA. Media was on the vanguard promoting SIM registration in Nigeria. And today SIM registration is going seamlessly. Media have been on the vanguard promoting about startup ecosystem. I can tell you today that there are some guys who have come together and are thinking towards having startup regulation in Nigeria. What does it mean? It means that to tell the government there's need to have funds set aside for startups. That's the kind of thing we want to be seeing. And media have been highlighting this. When you see, okay, for instance, what Innovationbed Africa is doing, WSA and Programos, I think media have helped at an extent trying to highlight or bring those innovations to bed, to the world stage. Today we talk about startups like Flutterwave, what they are doing, talk about Paga, talk about different startups and what they are doing. So the media, we have our core mandate, and our mandate is to highlight based on what we know and based on what we are told and based on the investigations we have done. I also want to highlight something. In this COVID-19, the pandemic, something struck me. When the government said they were doing, in Lagos State, for instance, they were doing radio program to teach the children. They are using radio program. They were giving out smart gadgets to students. I went behind to do some investigation to find out who are the beneficiaries, where are they residing, how is it impacting the people, and I discovered that government sometimes they focus more on the rural areas and forget about the urban areas and forget those in the rural areas. They are human beings. there are people that are going to make decisions tomorrow, whether we like it or not. If we don't involve them now, at the end of the day, they will come to do what to persecute us. How do I mean? There is no connectivity in some cities. You don't have connectivity, not even 3G. And these are the things to be shouting in the media. Make budget for these cities. Use the USPF fund, Universal Service Provision Fund, to set connectivity in those cities, so that people at this incidence of pandemic, people can benefit. So government can just tell us anything, but the media is the one that will tell us the truth tell us the man behind the mask, tell us the truth behind everything we are doing. So the media, our function is actually to tell the world things the way they are. That's why I have to be objective in our reports. We have to be fair. I have to give people in the rural areas, to give them voice. People in the urban areas have to give them the voice also. So I can say to an extent that media have performed well, trying to highlight the challenges and the solutions. Because I practice what is called developmental journalism. We have different kinds of journalism. We have investigative journalism, we have precision journalism, we have developmental journalism, and that is where I found myself to be. What does it entail? It entails that when you go to the people, find out what they have, the problems they have, find out what they have, and how that thing can be used to solve the problems they have. And what I mean? I'm talking about now media highlighting about local content, local solutions. I think that's the stage we are going now, whereby we can do highlight the solutions we have in-house to solve our own problems. Because nobody can solve our problems more than ourselves, because we understand the problems, and we know, because he who wears the shoes, we know where it pinches. So we understand the problems, and then if we develop solutions, we should be able to use it and solve our problems. So that's, let me stop here at the moment, but I know that media, to an extent, have helped us to find out the problems and the solution to the problems. When we say that, okay, government, we don't have electricity in Nigeria, is there a way to go about it? It is now the duty of the media to look for the guys who can solve these problems and highlight them and show them up. I think that's what we have been doing, and that aligns with the vision of Innovationbed Africa, trying to highlight solutions that can solve problems in education, in health. Thank you so much. Let me stop here for now, sir.
Mr. Peter Luka, thanks for that passion. And that's why I want to be more hopeful, because the media is the last conveyance of what I know, of what I feel, and they can be able to speak almost what Innovationbed is doing. I must say, I'm very grateful, because we've been here, we've been together for the years, and there's still a whole lot to be done, and we can't go to sleep. Thank you so much, Mr. Peter. I think in the house, I have Mr. Niyi Akinshiju. Mr. Niyi Akinshiju, please, can you unmute and share your thoughts? Hello, Mr. Niyi Akinshiju. Mr. Niyi Akinshiju is actually the lead at the Buhari media organization. Hope they are willing and ready to speak to us. In the absence of that, I'm sure he's always there, because he actually had a major meeting between 11 and 12 and was calling for some extension, but he was actually earlier to test his connection, which was fine. Perhaps he's still engaged with that, but obviously he's going to do justice to what we expect him to say. So thank you so much. I think perhaps now let's just take on Dr. Mrs. Edebo. Madam, please, let's just hear how this education can be helped in Africa, in Nigeria particularly now, because as I put it, it's a major crisis we have in education in Nigeria right now. How schools get back now is not just by wear your mask, sanitize your palms. There is a whole lot of problems as we speak that I wouldn't just know how we're going to bridge this gap, but then a whole lot still needs to be done. So thank you so much for joining us from Houston, Madam. Thank you. Your floor, ma'am.
Yeah. May I share my screen?
Yeah, please go ahead, please.
Yeah. Okay. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay, thank you. As Mr. Amos said, my name's Martina Debo. I'm Dr. Martina Debo. I'm the CEO and founder of Sion Educational Services. I'm going to try and run through this as quickly as I can, but I cannot go into anything without first of all touching on the foundation of this whole process. And my system, or my belief in how technology can help in the educational system, is based on three pillars, as it were. The first one is Bloom's taxonomy, and I know that I'm probably preaching to the choir, but I really have to talk about the importance of Bloom's taxonomy within the educational system and within the SMART system. It's what's used for the planning, for the assessment and evaluation of instruction. The next one is the SAM-R model. The SAM-R model is a model that was put together on the usage of technology within education. And the third part that I'm going to talk about is called the 4 C's. 4 C's is the framework of the content of instruction and pedagogy. So Bloom's taxonomy, as you know, Bloom's taxonomy is a way of divvying up the cognitive process that we use during instruction and that students use during the learning period. Basically, traditionally in most classrooms, not just in Nigeria, but in most traditional classrooms across the world, they have been focusing on remembering and understanding. They present information, they present concepts, and then they test the students on remembering and understanding. Bloom's taxonomy says there are higher order thinking skills that need to be incorporated into instruction. And those are the things that technology can really help make sure that it's going on in the classroom, it facilitates. Those levels are application, analysis, evaluation, and creation, or synthesis. In application, the students are taking the concepts that have been introduced and they're applying it to real world, distinguishing between different parts and talking about how things relate to each other. In evaluation, they're making value judgments about decisions, justifying their decisions. And in creativity, they're bringing all these things together, synthesis, they're bringing all these things together to create something new. And so it's important that we understand that in this new environment that we find ourselves, we have to flip the script. And the technology has allowed us to flip the script. What we want to do is we want to take those lower levels of instruction, those low levels of concept acquisition, and send them home to where the students can work with them at their own pace, in their own time. They can rewind and rewatch, they can ask questions. Then they bring that acquired knowledge into a classroom situation, whether it's a synchronous situation or an asynchronous situation, but into a classroom situation, and they bring all that acquired knowledge and they use it for higher level thinking skills. And one of the ways that they're going to do that is they do STEM projects or they do STEM-based activities. The next pillar, as it were, is called the 4 C's. 21st century learning is very educational, so with this century instruction. One is, technology allows them to do that. They should be able to problem solve and deeply analyze the concepts that are presented to them. There should be a level of reflection. So the students should be given word problems or problems that are open-ended and that have multiple solutions. And this is perfect for the STEM, because STEM or STEM-based instruction, which is what one of the things I'm going to talk about, allows students to use the engineering principles in collaboration or in tandem with technology to explore different possible solutions. Then the second part of the 4C model is for the students to communicate with each other, with people across the globe. Students communicate through digital tools. Students communicate with people all over the century and the 20th century learner. The 21st century learner, the globe is their classroom. Anything and everything is accessible to them because of technology. Unfortunately, that is not always true because a lot of students are hampered, are disadvantaged because they do not have access to this technology. And they don't have teachers who understand the use of technology. The third part of the 4C model is collaboration. In collaboration, you want students to learn how to work together. They work together in groups, they work together in teams, they work together towards a goal, and they work together, and especially in a situation where students are isolated due to this lockdown, it was seen how effective technology was, because when they're using these video conferencing, all the video conferencing formats have a way that students, Zoom, you'll be allowed to put them into breakout sessions. Google Classroom, even WhatsApp, you can use WhatsApp and use them and put them together in meeting groups. So collaboration is a very important part of 21st century learning. And technology has allowed us to do that effectively. So the issue is, how do we get that platform to all the schools? The fourth thing is creativity. We want students to be able to develop, analyze, elaborate, evaluate, and provide original work. Okay, so if those are the two of the three pillars, the third pillar is what I call the SAM-R model. And I shouldn't say I call it, it's what's called the SAM-R model. And the SAM-R model was developed by Ruben Pentadura in 2015. And what it does is it provides a way of examining the use of educational technology. The SAM-R is an acronym, and it stands for substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. And basically what it's saying is that any time you use technology in the classroom, you're using it in one of these four ways. I'm sorry, I'm reducing it, all right. One of these four ways. If you're using it for substitution and augmentation, what you're doing, or what the teacher's doing, is augmenting instruction. But if she's using it, or if he's using it in a modification or redefinition model, then they're actually transforming learning. So let's talk about substitution. Substitution is when you just use technology in place of traditional things. For example, you have students writing notes on their tablet or using the Word program to just take notes and write notes. All the teacher has done is taken a process that would normally have been used with pencil and paper and use technology. And yes, most teachers in most schools that I have worked with, this is where they start. And we can understand that, but we want to move them past that. We want to move them to a point where they're augmenting. They're asking the students to think in something using technology. It acts as a direct substitute, but it has a degree of functionality that improves the skills. So for example, you're asking them to incorporate a graph into the Word program, or incorporate an image into the Word program. So that's the augmentation level. Now, substitution and augmentation simply enhance learning. We want to move teachers to where they understand that what they want to do is transform in this 21st century platform, environment that we find ourselves in. They want to transform learning. So what they want to do is they want to use modification and redefinition. These are the two ways you use technology that are called above the line. So in modification, you have technology that allows the task to be significantly redesigned. An example is when you have students use software to create something and then share it with a larger audience in a way that wouldn't be possible if they didn't have the technology. For example, if you have a student they've read a book or they've done research and they're recording their findings and they're gathering data and they're sending it out to share with a wider audience. This is something they wouldn't have been able to do without the technology. But then you get to the top level of the usage of technology, which is called redefinition. This is a level where the task would have been totally inconceivable without technology. For example, you ask the students to develop robots that would be able to move something from one part of the room to another part of the room, video it, explain it by recording it, and then share it with a group. Without technology, that would not have been possible. And these are the two levels we really want to get our teachers to, but you can't get them to it without training. And the problem, the challenge we have is that we have so many teachers who do not have a comfort level with technology. It's almost a phobia. It's almost a phobia. And over the past 7, 8, 9 months that I've been working with teachers and I've been holding webinars, I've come to really realize the level of the phobia that teachers have with technology. So we have to, what I try to make them see is that in as much as I want them to be used in modification and redefinition, I do understand that they will be using substitution and augmentation. It is a cycle, it's a cyclical thing. And they have to start where they're comfortable and then work up to that. So what are the possible options for how we can get them to where we want them to be? One option, and this is a model that I have developed that I really want to look into. One option is to have master schools who have a master campus. And in that master campus, you have master teachers who understand the use of technology, who can create effective technology-based instruction, who can explain, and what they will do is they will transmit their lessons to these satellite schools. Within the satellite schools, the teacher would receive the lesson on his or her device and then project it to a screen. So the teacher in the classroom is more of a facilitator, and the master teacher is the one that has the real comfort level with technology. And the reason we do that is that hopefully if we've done it for long enough, these teachers in the classroom will become comfortable with the use of technology. And the students will have gained from having master teachers teach their teachers as well as teaching them. And the benefit of this is that it not restrict, can be, the master teachers can transmit to a good percentage of Nigeria is made up of rural areas. And a good percentage of those rural areas, in those areas, they depend on youth service members a lot of times. And these youth service members, a lot of them do not have any kind of teaching qualifications. So if you have this master satellite campus set up, it will work. But it's a platform that has to be developed because we do have some hurdles. One of the hurdles is obviously connectivity. Another one is electricity. So the next level that we can do, once we have this, if this is something that would be a challenge due to those restrictions, those limitations, the next option is to create a database of e-learning lessons or e-lessons that are taught by the master teachers, recorded, and then they're stored and they're shared through servers or through an educational website. What this allows the teachers to do is they can access, and then they can watch and they can present to their students. That, number one, that limits the data usage, and it helps teachers who are still uncomfortable with computers or with technology, because they can watch it, they can watch these lessons at their own pace. In addition to that, these videos, access to these videos. So if the teachers are doing a flipped method, the teachers can simply give the students a link, if that's the case, or they can send them home with a recording of these content videos. I came up with this as an alternative because of the limitations we have in Nigeria, in the rural areas, and even in some of the urban areas. I mean, Lagos is an urban area, but I've worked with some schools, and connectivity was so bad that we had to stop the webinar because they just kept losing the connection. So this is an option. This is option 2. Option 3 is a combination of the two. You have the synchronous learning, and it's recorded. So any student, any school that loses the connection can always go back and access the recording. So the synchronous goes on, the recording can be used, it can be accessed. That will introduce a concept, and the students will watch these videos and do the activities related to the video. Then the students will read the problem, the challenge. Remember, we're trying to read is they have to create the vision. When afraid, they set up their projects, they test their projects, they do this. This link would take them to different articles about coastal erosion. They have word problems they have to solve. Each of these subjects has each teacher has put an objective that they want the students to learn, and then this is the deliverable. This is also a video that they can watch, because one of the deliverables is that they have to create their own video, the video documentary that shows the cause of erosion and the results of erosion on humans. So this is just an example of a STEM project. And one of the things I do when I work with my schools is I have each school divide their teachers into project groups, and they work through and create their own. As I said, this is a video they'll watch just to get an idea of what a video looks like. So as we're going through this, my issue is technology should always be used in the classroom in the 21st century, but how should it be used? It should be used to plan instruction. You should know, the teacher should know how they intend to use the technology. What levels of SAM are they using? How are they incorporating Bloom's taxonomy? How are they incorporating the 4Cs? And as I said, these are the ones I use. There are other models that can be used, but technology should be used to plan delivery, to plan instruction. Technology should be used to deliver instruction. And then once the instruction has been delivered, the students have to bring their knowledge to a class, and the students and the teachers will use that technology to assess, access, and evaluate the acquisition of the knowledge and the mastery of the knowledge. It is really important that teachers don't just blithely go on from one thing to another without assessing, evaluating, and understanding the level of mastery of the concepts that they have been trying to teach. Then you're going to use the technology to gather student data. When the students bring their projects or their feature, the teacher will gather the student data, and they'll be able to know what is missing, what the students understand, what they don't understand, what they have to go back over. They should make data-driven decisions. They should benchmark the effectiveness of their teaching. So at any point, they should be able to say where their students are using technology in the teaching. Now, in order to do that, they have to know where they should be in order to know how far away from that mark the students are. So then once they've decided what needs to be taught, they have to remediate wherever necessary. And again, technology is used for this. So now the question is how? How can we make this work? How does this work in a country where in a system where the bulk of students don't have access to steady electricity, to steady internet, where they don't have trained teachers, where they don't have parents who not only are not tech savvy, a lot of them, the parents aren't even educated. So how do we make this work? And we make this work, that's why I'm really, really advocating for the master satellite school system, or the blended, the combined option 3, so that you're not depending on teachers who have not been trained. But pending that, we need to train teachers to ensure that they have a comfort level with the new methods. And believe it or not, this is our new reality. We're not going to ever go back to the way it was, nor should we want to. COVID-19 has forced us into the 21st century. We have to make it work. We have to pivot to make it work. Number 2 is parents and students must be trained, but they also must be allowed to ease into the new system. Because if we don't allow them to ease into that new system, what happens is that they become frustrated, and frustration leads to criticism, and criticism leads to the schools wanting to please the parents, and they gradually revert back to the old way of doing things. And we get further behind the technological revolution that is sweeping the world in education. Then number 3, and I feel this to the depths of the core of who I am, all NYSC members must attend rigorous pre-service training on the use, first of all, on teaching methodology, and then on the use of technology in the classroom, so that when they finish their service, they can either continue to teach, which lends continuity to the students and to the schools, or if they're looking for employment elsewhere, they have a skill that's marketable. Then number 4 is the educational sector must negotiate lower data rates for educational use. Over here, no matter what program you want to use, they will tell you, if you want to use it for education, this is the rate, and it's a much lower rate than the commercial use. That needs to be negotiated. Only the government can really do that. And the voices such as Programos, who are taking this whole thing to the next level. A smart city, a smart system needs smart education. Smart education needs infrastructure. So the last thing is the schools must provide or must be provided with the infrastructure to make it work. The public schools have to have the infrastructure, that you can't compete with the private schools because the private schools are really commercial. I'm not saying that they're not businesses, I'm not saying that they're not educational, but they bring in money and they spend money. Public schools have a budget, a good amount of that budget needs to be dedicated to technological infrastructure. If we're going to really create smart cities, then we have to have smart education, and smart education requires infrastructure. So that I really want to press for the master satellite structure, because it's a way that I can see that we can move forward. We can move forward. It's not something that we can do all at once, but if we have a cohort, a cadre of master teachers who are comfortable with educational technology and using technology in effective and efficient ways within education, then slowly we can get to where the whole educational system is at that level. And that basically is what I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, Dr. Martina Edebo. That was quite a whole lot of insights into, because education is critical. Even in the course of these projects, education is the foundation. And I've actually been worried that if the general education is actually this bad, how could even a better, set of standards in education, how can we leverage on, what can we possibly do for this to really go down well with Nigerians? Because as we speak, is grave. Quite frankly, the situation is actually very, very grave. And I think lessons from the substitution, augmentation, the modification, redefinition model, and the smart education insights that you have offered today, I'm sure would even go a long way to even helping our vision to this entire design. I will say thank you so much once again for that insight into education, because even with the ICT4SIDS projects, education is the foundation, because people sometimes may, particularly from political point of view, when they look at some of these things, they might look as if it's all about money. You could spend all the money in the world, but without the right, without you doing the right thing, you're just flying in the air. And I think this is actually the main essence of why this project, we didn't just want to start and fail. We have spent a whole lot of time on this project, and we really need to sow the seeds to ensure we get about doing the right thing, particularly from this part of the world, because I'm from Nigeria. So thank you so much once again. I'll go back to my Professor Amjad. Sorry.
Hi.
And again,
No
so thankful that you are able to join us at this so early time that I had to take you out of the bed to be in Nigeria at this time.
Yeah, thank you. That's no problem.
Be in Nigeria at this time. Let me say that you stated earlier some early stories at the United Nations headquarters, and I can remember one of the key reasons that actually got me provoked to really continue on this project. I could remember some years back at the UN headquarters, like in 2010, Nigeria was actually selected as one of those developing countries on the e-enabler initiative of then UN GATE. And I can remember they picked on our country and they tested certain economic factors, and our flags were always falling. And by the time you pick on the then top 20 countries, their flags were up and they were active. And we felt that we really needed to be party to that assistance at that time. And that's why I actually wrote in, and I was happy having to join the working group at the time for all this long. I've never regretted, because I know it's actually been one assignment that someday developing countries will get to learn from all those things that the first 20 countries have learned and they were doing. And I think about now, we aren't going to jump it. We're still going to do those basic things, which is part of what Dr. and Mrs. Martina has actually put together in the education talk just a few minutes ago. So, sir, would you do us the honor to share with us some of these principles so that we can actually know how each state in Nigeria, because, you know, at the point, I thought maybe Nigeria as a whole can be developed. But I later agree with one World Bank representative in one meeting some years back that a regional development is much better in the country. Some governments are willing to have the will to do the right thing. So we feel that by the time we can learn which of these governments are ready to do these things, we can actually start their state pilots as early as possible. And I'm sure we know that in 12 months, we should be able to get them to be able to run their internal smart city capabilities development in their states on their own going forward. And I think it's going to be by leveraging on people across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. So you do us the honor, sir, to share your paper. Quite honored to receive you. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Let me see if I can share my screen.
Right.
Okay, so let me know when you can see the screen.
Yeah, we can see it, sir.
Can you see the, okay. So, all right, so can you, just a minute, I'm sorry. Okay, let me make sure that can you see the screen?
Yes, we can see it.
All right. Thank you very much, Amos, and thank you very much, Dr. Adebar, for your presentation. It is extremely important, and you hit the foundation of the young kids who need to be educated, especially in the post-COVID days, when many of the school systems had to close down and they could not even operate without any kind of technology. So we are living in very, very dangerous times where we really need the young kids to be educated. But in many countries, I'm from Pakistan, and I was born and raised in Pakistan, but spent most of my time and life in England and the United States and Italy and some other places. But in many of the developing countries, their education system has totally been demolished because of the COVID. They're running brick and mortar school systems that really don't have any technology, and definitely the training of the teachers is an extremely important part. So that whole area of work is extremely important, and I fully applaud you. I appreciate the work that you're doing and would like to partner with you, because I am working on part 2 of the issue. So there are lots of important areas that need to be covered. And one is definitely educating the young kids who are in schools and grade schools and high schools. But then there is a part 2 of the issue that I'm going to be talking about, and that is educating the government officials, the leaders who are managing the organizations, the commercial sectors, and for economic development, and for the communities and the villages, and how we live and work in these environments. So that's the part that I'm going to be focusing on, just in my part. So between you and me, I think we should partner and then make sure that we collaborate with each other and benefit from each other's work. So I would like to, offline, I would like to have a chat with you sometime later on. So my idea really is on empower. This is the title that my good friend Amos has given me, and I like the title a lot. It is empowering the developing countries' public service governance system with strategic planning and smart city education development and certification for the youth. And that's exactly what I am going to be talking about. As I already mentioned, I'm a professor of information technologies, information and communication technologies at Harrisburg University of Science and Technology. So I am deeply into STEM. That's what my PhD is in engineering. So that I am a deep techie, and I have a company also in this area. And of course, I manage and lead the United Nations partnership on using ICT for small islands and developing states. So let me get quickly to the point. So what I'm really going to share with you are some of the ideas about the evolution of the firms or organizations. These are the organizations. They can be school systems, they can be government agencies, they can be private businesses. So all of these firms, how are they relying on digital technologies, and what is the impact of them using these technologies more, and what is the impact of not using the technologies, and how can we educate the people who really are responsible for running the enterprises. And by the way, educational system is an enterprise also. So, so definitely healthcare is also an enterprise. So these are a lot of different enterprises. So we need to have the people who are running them and operating them and supporting them also to be educated in this new era. So I just want to present very quickly this model of evolution for digital firms or digital organizations. And as we mentioned, we all know that many of the organizations are brick and mortar, and the video clip also that Amos showed had brick and mortar as the old model. So there are lots of companies that are brick and mortar, especially in rural areas. It's I would say in Nigeria, although the use of the cell phone, there's a very heavy use of the cell phone, but a lot of the businesses and government businesses and private businesses, they still are brick and mortar. Am I right?
That's right.
Okay, so especially in the rural areas. But then there is a stage, so that is like a stage zero of evolution where they have practically no digital technology presence. And if they get hit with the disaster like pandemic, like COVID, they basically are out of commission for many cases. But if you can look at this one, this model shows you the evolution of the organizations going from brick and mortar to what is a stage one, which is just at least they have enough of technologies and know-how where they can advertise their services on the web, like having a very simple website and things of that nature. So that does, introduce certain level of technology, but it also gives them a opportunity to advertise to much broader audiences by using the simple web browsers and web servers, and the basic connectivity that is needed. And this can be run, these kind of websites can be run on 2G networks, by the way. So that's one of the things that we do, is that we design the hubs that we run in such a fashion that they can run on 2G networks, and also they can be accessed from 2G type of access devices, things of that nature. But as you move to, let's say, from rural areas to the urban areas, then and then you can actually go to the higher level of technologies like e-commerce, where not only you are advertising your product, but you are allowing people to maybe purchase online, and that way you have the situation where a business running in Lagos can have customers in Switzerland or in England or Italy or anywhere else in the world. So that opens up a great deal of markets for those businesses. It's a simple e-commerce site with the ability to buy products and have their products delivered and things of that nature. And then if you go to the higher level, then this is where you can in fact become more sophisticated all the way to the highest level, where they become a very smart next generation of digital enterprises, where everything is being supported through the digital technologies. So as you all know, that if you go through these kind of stages, when you look at the companies that have been affected the most heavily due to the pandemic are the ones that are on stage 0 or stage 1. And in fact, many of the companies that are on the higher stages, they have not seen very much difference. I mean, I teach at a university, Harrisburg University, and we already were using online systems for education, and we did not miss a different session. Not a day, forget the days, not even one course or one even session in anything. We were operational within few hours after we hit this, and we knew that we could not go to work. So all of our workers are working from home. I have been home since for almost 6 months now. I do want to get out. but on the other hand, we are doing all of our work from home. All the meetings that we have, everything is being done through digital technology. So one of the major observations that has been made in the last few months that a lot of people did not realize was the impact of the technology and the resilience that it offers to businesses and to government services and to all of our operations by adopting digital technology. So the question really is, as a starting point of this discussion, and by the way, this is just these are just my ideas that I wanted to present here for discussion, is that at what stage are most of the places in Nigeria? I'm assuming, as I said, that most of the businesses and government operations in the rural areas are in stage 0, or maybe some are stage 1, but maybe in the urban areas like Lagos, there might be a lot of businesses, I'm assuming, in the higher level of stages. So, so tell me, Amos, what is the situation in Nigeria, if you could summarize quickly in one sentence or so? Hello, can you hear me? Lagos?
I think he stepped away for a minute.
All right, that's fine. Okay, so anyway, but other people can also say, so I'm going to assume that that the rural areas are still in stage 0, stage 1, but some operations in Lagos are probably maybe large international banks and things of that nature, maybe in the highest level of stages and things of that nature. So So what I am really trying to do right now with my work with the United Nations is work with all the organizations in different parts of the world to have them move up this ladder. If they are on stage 1, have them go to stage 2 and stage 3, and how they can do it in a step-by-step manner. So that is the basic premise of the work, is to starting point is recognize where you are. So people who are living in villages and rural areas, the education system is different, and the hubs that we create that I'll talk about later on are different than the ones that are in the urban areas. And so we try to cover all different aspects of it. So that's the important part. So Amos, would you remind me how much time do I have?
Okay, great. Yes. Then go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so do I have 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes?
10, sir.
Okay, 10. All right. So I'll make it fast. All right. Okay. So I'm going to fly through this very quickly. So what we really do is we have this free hands-on workshop and about smart cities and communities. I'm not going to waste my time to explain all those because I think it was explained already in the video clip. These are basically populations that live in different geographical areas but are interconnected through intelligent technologies. And of course, there are make sure helping out the populations and what needs to be done for different populations in different parts of the world is very, very different. It's very location specific. So for example, the solutions that I'm working on in Pennsylvania, they do not work in Solomon Island or in Sri Lanka or in different parts of Thailand or Nigeria or Ghana or Togo or many different parts of the world. So what we do with our technology that we use is that we build these hubs. A hub is basically a center of activity that is supported by some very smart portals. By the way, these portals can run on very minimal type of technologies also. So the portals are administrative. They provide administrative capabilities because you need to support the administrators to operate the hubs. You need the citizens portal, for example. The citizens need their services, the training and education of the people who are working. So that's a very important part of it. So we offer those kind of services and other things like project management policies and that are needed. And above all of these hubs that we generate, they are generated by with the capability to collaborate with each other. So if you are in one village or one location, you should be able to collaborate electronically with some others. Now, I know that in many cases, I just heard that the many locations in Nigeria, they are not even connected. But in many places in Pakistan, like the northern part where the connectivity is very, very low, we have been able to do some work where people can just exchange diskettes or just through floppy disk or something like that, they can get information back and forth. So the solution has to be very location specific. It cannot be one size fits all. But the challenge turns out is that how can that be done? So in other words, how can you provide healthcare services, education services, other public safety type of services, and public welfare type of services? How can you provide to different populations in different parts of the world where they have access to very different type of technologies? So naturally, you cannot do hand-build solutions. You cannot build have people build one solution for Nigeria and go back and then build another solution for Switzerland and third solution for China. So you need almost like a factory type of a model, very much like what factories have done in the auto industries. I worked with the manufacturing industries in the beginning of my career. And one of the things that manufacturing industries have done is a tremendous job is that a factory can produce a car that can be very, very inexpensive, or they can produce car that is also quite expensive with a lot of features, and they can do it very well. So the model that I have, and Amos is very well familiar with, is the space system that I have built. It is now working as a factory, in fact. So it manufactures these hubs. That's the main idea, and it does that in a very short time, like in less than a day. So the methodology used is that when people get started, they first of all use a country that they are going to be working on, and also the area. Is it rural area or is it urban area? So the system asks some questions, and then it says, what kind of services do you need? Do you need health, education, public safety, so on and so forth, those that kind of question. And then it automatically goes through the analysis of it. And so we have a database, we have some patterns, we have a lot of technologies here that this system searches the technology and generates a hub that is specific to that location for that service. So you need different type of services for different locations in different part of the world. So that is the technology that is at the core of the services that we offer. So the course that I am talking about offering here this is a hands-on workshop that basically uses this technology and as a key tool that people can learn. It's totally free, and they can form their own community centers. They can form villages. I'm going to show you very quickly some examples of the work in the interest of time. So this particular workshop is a 6-week hands-on workshop, 1 hour online session per week. Amos and I have thought about starting this in the first week of November, and have 6 weeks, November 1 to, let's say, December 15th would be one session. And we're looking for 9 or 10 volunteers anywhere in Nigeria or in Ghana or anywhere in Africa would be fine, who we can educate. And the idea would be the earlier your presentation talked about, on educating the educators. So we're training the trainers model. So we want to get 9, 10, not more than that, people involved so that we can educate them on the methodology and the basic key knowledge about how to deploy these hubs. I mean, this machinery that we have at our factory builds everything, but then how do you actually use it for the specific location for success? So all attendees are encouraged to develop their own solutions for their own businesses. So we expect everybody to come to this particular session with a particular problem in their mind. Do they want to build a healthcare hub? Do they want to build an education hub? Do they want to build a smart city or smart town solution, or a community center? Whatever it is, we ask and I will interview all the people who are interested in it myself. And there's a questionnaire at the end that I will show you that asks them some questions about what exactly is it that you want to do. And then the whole purpose of this course is to focusing on helping smart communities and cities to become resilient against pandemics and disasters by using digital technologies, and also for economic development. So we use a lot of gamifications, a lot of computer-aided planning tools, so that the people who are joining this particular course will be very well educated on how to run their operations in their location. So I just want to show you the result of this work very quickly. Is we have right now what I call Smart Cities and Communities Lab. By the way, this lab and this course is currently being taught at Harrisburg University to graduate students I mentioned earlier. So I'm taking a smaller version of it and offering it in Nigeria. So this, for example, shows you that there is a COVID hub that we have generated. There is a hub for disaster resilience and recovery center, and there's also a hub for digital transformation training. In other words, how can a company or a business transform from, let's say, stage 1 or stage 0 to stage 1, or stage 1 to stage 2, or stage 2 to stage 3. So it basically walks them through stage by stage how they can transform their businesses. Then there's a sample site for digital government that I will just show you very quickly, a snapshot of it. How does it look like, all the different hubs in a particular location, and how do they communicate with each other for economic development, for providing healthcare services, education services, and others. And there is a collaboration system also where they can learn to collaborate. So and this shows the video clip of the actual computer-aided planning tool. Now we will use the computer-aided planning tool ourselves to get everybody started, but the people who choose to take this course will educate them about how to use it themselves, so that then they can take what we teach them and they can then launch their own hubs and in their own location with their own people. So we want the people to be very well trained. It really is a very easy system. It takes only 20 to 25 minutes to operate, and it generates a very powerful system. So this is the example of a smart government hub we have generated, and there are many of these hubs. There, this one, there's a disaster management, there's an energy marketplace, there's an e-agriculture, e-commerce, entrepreneurship for businesses, education, tourism, and telemedicine, of course. So all of these hubs are generated by the system, and they can collaborate with each other. And then we have, so these are like at local levels, and then these are hubs that in a Solomon Island, and that's we did the entire smart city, so that's there too. So I don't have the time right now, but this is an example that we can use. So what I would really like to do is have an opportunity to work with 9 or 10. I don't think we can handle more than 10 in this first round. Young people who are interested in working with the government, or if they're already working with the government, that would be outstanding, who want to volunteer to take this workshop. And at the end of it, what I would like to do is have this kind of a setup in Nigeria. We have, let's say, disaster management hub, energy hub, education hub, tourism hub, and so on and so forth. And they all are actually collaborating with each other for economic development. This could be in one particular state in Nigeria, or they could be spread over the people who are going to attend. And we are going to ask them, what exactly are you going to build? What is this education is very focused on the results. What results do you want in your region in this case? So that's the whole idea here. And we will give them the education. And so these are the questions that we ask them to get started. You can see what's the goal of the pilot project, what is the name of the sector that you want to support, what are the names of the services you are going to have, is the center for urban or rural areas? You can see those questions. There are some questions about how many users will you have? Will it operate at a local, regional, or national level? Will the service be mainly information dissemination or actually transactional? What are the expected benefits to the community? What are the estimated costs approximately? Do the users need to be trained? Do the people who are operating it need training? So this is a questionnaire to get everybody started, and then once they get started, then the method we work them through the methodology of learning how to do the initial analysis and run through the space system to develop their own plans and actually have a complete solution at the end of it. So this is what really the 6th session outline is. And first session, they would just get started. They choose the hub that they want. Where do they want it? We go through the methodology in the second session and expose them and educate them about the space system. And then we use the space system as a classroom exercise. Then is a discussion forum where they show the results and discuss it with each other. And then they make modifications to it. And the course wrap up is where everybody presents the results and talks about what are the next steps. So this is 6 weeks, every week, 1 hour session, and in between some homework type assignment that they do to actually get something done instead of talking and then followed by more talks. I strongly agree with Dr. Robert's presentation that it has to be hands-on training, working with the students to get them actually started, and that's it. So we need to basically stop talking and start doing things. So this is a hands-on workshop to get started. It's completely free, and also we need maximum of 10 people, volunteers who are interested in this education, and 6 weeks, 1 hour session, starting date roughly November 1 and up to December 15th. And I have looked, and if, for example, we do get some very bright people who need some seed money to get started after they have taken the course, and they have a very good idea, I can even fund them at a very, at a small, modest level, but get them started and to be successful. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you so much, Professor Amjad. And in fact, for even agreeing to do this as free for the initial hands from Nigeria, I'm so grateful, because bearing in mind how much this Smart City course is going for in Harrisburg University, yes. We are not friends of foreign exchange at all, but then we know it's in several thousands thousands of dollars, and I know this will actually give us a good foundation. And on the selection, we try our best to see that we get people who are really committed and they really want to make a proper change for the country. And I think that's actually already ongoing. So thank you so much once again, Prof.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, looking forward to it, and I will collaborate with everybody. We are really committed to it. We'll work on it with you, and if we can get some really good people to work with, that's how we bring change. That's how the change actually happens.
Yes, I must tell you that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, I must actually share that this kind of project works with very committed people. Some people are just fund, drive, money, and all of that, and nothing really will work. But with the kind of committed people we have right now, because aside politics, Nigerians and they actually want to change that they desire. And I know quite a lot of the youths today have come to that realization, and they are still that set of Nigerians.
Exactly, and I think the young people especially are very highly motivated, and I would love to work with anybody, but especially young people who really really want to make a difference and are looking for opportunities to do that. So
yes, thank you so
thanks
much.
a lot.
I appreciate it. Thanks. So next up, I'm going to actually play, because I have two young men here. I have one Tope Oguntade and one Dr. Simon Yangi. Are you on? These two gentlemen.
Oguntade is on.
Okay. Mr. Oguntade, are you on?
Okay, oh, yes, I have.
How are you?
Hello, good.
How do you do?
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm good. I'm good. And you?
Dr. Simon. Dr. Simon, are you on? Okay, you join us.
Yeah.
He was to play. He was to be at your. You were to spot, spot together. While you were to play like 7, what's the opposite of 7 on the football field? I was to play him on the other wing. These two gentlemen.
Oh, that's 11.
Oh, great, great. So these gentlemen have been. They are now very old men now, big money guys. But then we used to really be together when they were very young. And they are very, very innovative. And the reason why I actually wanted them to be part of this session is so that they can actually see the directions the world is going. And with the wealth of knowledge they also have right now, perhaps we need to look at the relearning track so that we all can reconsider what we are doing now to know what exactly we can actually put together based on this kind of works to advance our position. Like we say, rather than keep talking, we should be taking the actual steps to act. Tope Oguntade, you are Chief Operating Officer for Ashipa Electric Corporation. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh, please just share a bit about your background and what you plan to do in this. I mean, at this stage, that's all this high level provocation of COVID-19 are set in, and here we are talking about our leaders innovating around reinnovating what they are doing so that we can be at par with what the rest of the world are doing. Share your thoughts, please.
All right, thank you so much, sir. So I am Oguntade Tope, the Chief Operating Officer and Software Team Lead at Ashipa Electric Corp. So I think today I'll be looking at public service innovation, the role of youth in ethically hacking the overexploitation of a public sector space. All right, I will probably just go through this and share a little bit about my background. So, but I think there's an assumption in the topic that the public sector space has been overexploited. While this may appear as common knowledge, regrettably, I do not have sufficient facts to back this up. So I will steer a bit in the direction of possible overexploitation of our public sector space. So a little about my background. So I founded and co-founded 2 startups in 2 regulated spaces. So for 5 years, I was CEO of an education technology company that worked to computerize teaching, learning, and collaboration in all Nigerian higher education institutions. But in the last 2 years, I've actually drifted more in the direction of energy. So I've led 2 energy companies that electrify communities and commercial. They want us to look at the intrinsic properties of the 2 major groups of people that that topic focuses on. The first is the youth, and the second, the public sector leadership. Well, while that doesn't represent a particular age gap, but I think it reflects a particular bracket. Okay, so if we look at the youth in general, we see vigor. We understand that youths are spirited, they're motivated. So they're agile, they're fast-paced, but they also are inexperienced and they lack resources. But when we look at, on the other hand, we look at public sector leadership, what we see that they are conservative, they are risk averse, they are stiff, measured, but sometimes they are typically experienced from their many years of contact with executors that they meet. And they also control significant resources. So these are two different set of people that we are trying to look at. The youth here trying to act the public sector leadership. So, but a keen observer will note that the characteristics of public sector leaders, even though they don't lend themselves well to the fast-paced nature of innovation, it is not totally bad after all. So the public sector emphasizes stability and evolution can be painfully slow. So, but how can we limit the possible exploitation of our public sector space? Now, we can all see how the education sector, for instance, fared poorly with the COVID pandemic. I'm talking about the Nigerian education sector now. Fared very poorly with the COVID-19 epidemic. So many half-baked and already assembled software systems were marketed as e-learning systems. And this happened because there was no framework in place that regulates what an acceptable learning tool should be like and how it should work. Now, let us take a look at another sector now, the performance-based approach program from the Rural Electrification Agency in this same country, Nigeria. Alongside the World Bank, they created a system that rewards performance and performance only. They have a set of guidelines that qualifies the organization before they can participate in the program. Like you want to build roads, yes, there are minimum requirements, you have to meet them. So once you meet those minimum requirements, you qualify. And then they allow these organizations to go out there and electrify community within the framework that they have established. But they do the execution with their monies. Now, their payments from the beginning is guaranteed by the central bank, and they only get paid by established metrics of performance. Now, remember from the earlier discussion we had, older people are risk averse. They see the risk in this approach very well. So a number of things happened with the performance-based grant approach. Older people realize that they cannot beat younger people at this, which is evident in the fact that almost all the CEOs of participating companies are young people. Now, older people are forced to recognize their strengths and they also take advantage of it. They now play advisory roles and also provide resources to help the younger players participate effectively. So they actually just sit back, lean on rely more on the experiences, provide, play advisory roles. They have resources that they control, they provide that, but they let the younger people take advantage of their own strengths as well. So, and what is the outcome of this from REA? These two programs, two things happening concurrently during the pandemic. Now, what is the outcome of the REA program? There are about 400 mini grids that are currently in construction in Nigeria right now. Almost all of them are built by youths. Like by almost all of them, I mean, I'm certain that over 350 of them are built by people that are below the age of 40. Okay, now, and this is happening in the same country, Nigeria. So what I see is that when public sector leaders focus on creating policies and frameworks that rewards performance alone, the current NEP model that I just explained has shown that two different generations of people can actually fuse together in a way that aligns their strengths. Those that have the largest potential to exploit the public sector space are also the biggest losers when it comes to fair competition. So this is what I believe the youth should demand, right? When we have fair competition, I think the youth will actually have a lot of advantages and they can play very well once they take advantage of the strengths of the other people too, who are typically the leaders of the public sector space. So I think that's my thoughts, sir, and thanks for the
Thank you so very much, Mr. Topper. Mr. Topper actually is one of my World Summit Awards national nominees, and I'm grateful at that. Even way back when he was on campus, you actually were on the team of some of those youth that won the Institute of Software Practitioners of Nigeria's awards way back in Tinapa, right? Were you in Tinapa? Great.
Yes, sir.
So great.
So, oh, yes, I was. We came first.
Excellent. Yes, sir. Excellent. So you see, these are some sort of youths I've actually been watching, and we're still working on them. The other colleague is having a meeting right now. He also has worked in Programos some years back. He holds a PhD today, and he will also share. He will share his thoughts as we speak. I think we have someone now I want to tap. Okay, so while we expect the representative from Oyo State just came in and dropped a bit now, but I'm sure he'll join us back. But about that time, I can actually fast track Bauchi State. Madam Khadijat, Aja. Let me ask the head innovation, training, education, research of information communication technology in Bauchi State, Aja Khadijat Aliu. Hello, madam. Looks she's still also busy, but at any rate, this other man, Niyi Akishiju, is Mr. Niyi active? Hello? Hello, is Mr. Niyi active? Okay.
Sorry, sir.
How are you, madam? So sorry about that. Sorry, I was just taking unawares because we have some other people who are like jumping from one meeting or the other, and they'll be joining us as we go. So we just want to hear you. You actually lead innovation and research and training in the Bureau of ICT in Bauchi State. That's an enormous task, is that not? So we're today looking at how all these sweats of homegrown innovation ideas amongst the youths, the numerous youths in the society, are sometimes not even appreciated or even patronized, just because the powerful leadership has so much funds that they probably want to be looking at foreign borders. Hello? Okay, madam might be having some connection challenge, but we know that is just normal. We know that is just normal. We'll just spare some time. While we await her to come back, I might just get back to my documentary to share more on that while I wait her reconnection. Let me be sure I have that on.
Technology and broader social issues. Everywhere, Africa appears to be behind. Innovationbed has become a bridge builder, an aggregator, and facilitator. It is spearheading efforts to contribute to efforts to build a digital ecosystem for innovation development in Africa. Innovationbed has incredible long-standing strategic initiative research partners, including the Global Digital Foundation, ICT4SIDS, Info Poverty World Conference, Oparazone Global, and Amiable UN World Summit Awards, WSA. Eminent national experts from over 180 countries. These alliances have funded Innovationbed to advance actions towards the UN Sustainable Development Goals from across the respective countries. The World Summit Awards are a unique award system selecting and promoting local digital innovation to improve society, combining an ongoing series of international events and activities with a global network of startups, social entrepreneurs, mentors, jurors, speakers, experts, government leaders, academia, civil society. WSA is an international platform for cutting-edge examples of how ICTs can impact society positively. Innovationbed coordinates Nigeria's participation. The vision is clear: to address Africa's greatest socio-economic challenges through innovative technology solutions by offering opportunity platforms for growing quality and knowledgeable generation of startups in the new nation-building transformation agenda. Innovationbed Startup Opportunities Gateway incubates for promotion, growing innovative African startups and impacting the ecosystem positively. In Nigeria, members of the Innovation Council comprise of outstanding digital entrepreneurs who have at one time or the other researched, designed, and developed great innovation with positive social impact on the Nigerian society and beyond. Programos Foundation's involvement in technology solutions embraces Smart City. First is the appreciation of the fact that a smart city is not a computer. A smart city is a city that uses ICT to increase operational efficiency, share information with the public, and improve both the quality of government services and citizen welfare. The economic realities indicate that as more and more people move to urban areas, cities will struggle to cope with the influx of people. The need to create smart cities is becoming all the more unavoidable. Smart cities will make urban areas more livable and truly sustainable. Programos Foundation is actively working to promote smart city solutions. Over the last decade, Programos Foundation has been working with the UN World Summit Awards to select, promote, connect purpose-driven local digital innovation with a strong impact on improving the Nigerian society, given the too many social challenges they face. Amos is tireless in working to improve continental participation in the UN World.
So now we have back.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
Yes, Mr. Fadoju, please take the floor.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody.
Perhaps 1 minute, let me just stop my screen.
Okay.
I guess is this being shared?
Okay. Can I go on?
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is.
Yourself. Who are you?
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm about to do now. My name is Babajide Fadoju. I managed the communications for the Oyo State government under the late Senator Abiola Ajimobi for 6 years, and I currently manage the communications for the family currently, and I'm also at the head of communications at Illumination Communications and Director of Media at the Africa Movies Academy Awards. So you can call me. Well, I've had say give or take about 10 years experience with digital communications and about 15 years in general communications. So when my Oga Amos reached me a few weeks ago about this program that was coming up today, I was looking forward to sharing my own insights on what I've learned and what I think. Okay, the topic he told me to speak on was how the public administrators can be helped and influenced to adapt to innovation in all they do. So I'll start with this. I think one of the little blessings, if there's any blessings to have come up with the coronavirus, is it has made everybody know that we all don't have to go to Abuja, we all don't have to sit down, we all don't have to see ourselves. Everybody doesn't have to be at the secretariat for things to work. All those things about, oh, there's this ESCO meeting today, there is this one tomorrow, there's this one. No, everybody can actually meet virtually at a particular time and still, reach a good conclusion without seeing ourselves. So that is one of the little blessings that I've seen from the COVID thing. So moving forward, with my own experience as the head of a digital communications, with it's just about impacting the citizens and the citizen using new approaches, coming up with new platforms, activating them as partners, like what Oga Amos is doing with Programos, platforms, mediums, making lives easier. We don't have, like I said, with the blessings of the COVID, we all don't have to sit down, see ourselves. I don't have to drive down to Bagada from Ibadan because I want to be a part of this. So I would say is one of the blessings of COVID. So in making lives easier, or in making the adaptability easier for public administration, is letting them know that with the new mediums, I hope, Mr. Amos, I hope I'm speaking on the right thing.
Very well, I'm getting you.
Yes. So the potential of innovation in government is immense. However, the challenge is one of the biggest. Sorry?
Except that your face mask is not let on to have your video.
Okay, well, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
One of the innovation has so many endless, infinite potential. But one of the issues that we face, like everywhere else, is people are susceptible to change. If an old way pays, if people are used to old ways, say we use a cutlass and hose to farm, and you are now coming up with some tractor, the people that have made that cutlass and hoe their business will see you as an enemy. So my first 2 years, I say the first 2-3 months of my time in government, in me attending to, bring new changes, start putting all of the governor's speech on cloud. So, in like 5-10 years from now, we can still see his words, putting the videos on a super drive, going from a conventional radios and TV to more digitally led approaches. I faced not really a backlash, but there was friction. There was this thing about age. There was this thing about how many people have done it. Is it tested and trusted? Is it what people really should use? If you get lost in transit, there were a lots of friction. There were lots of people blocking the. Are we together? Am I speaking to?
Go ahead.
I just need to know I'm not talking to myself. Okay. So yeah. So despite this, all governments, all public administration and administrators should look forward to transforming the way they work using existing platforms and creating enabling environments, creating tech hubs, creating idea hubs where people can come in, test drive their platforms. It doesn't have to work at the first try. There are always rooms for error, to do more. So I don't know if there's any questions I can still ask. And in Nigeria here too, we've seen the lights, like I mentioned earlier. COVID has shown us that the slightest disruption can affect everything that we do. I remember a month ago, was it a month? The first time the federal government, the FEC Executive Council would hold a virtual meeting. I remember one of our, was it a minister or one of our special advisors here? That was the first time it was actually going to talk through a video. So it was new to them, like most things are actually new to us now, but we have all adapted. So, and since a government is about continuity, implementation of frameworks will not only be useful now, but also relevant in the future. So if there's any question that I should ask Mr. Amos, please.
Okay, great. Mr. Fadoju. Hello, Mr. Fadoju.
Yes.
Yes,
I can hear you, sir.
Yeah, very well. So you have actually also worked in Programos. So you know what Programos Foundation is all about. So, and of course,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, I do.
Once in Programos, always in Programos. Now, so one question
yes, sir.
I wanted to share some light is that, one, you know my position about politicians and people in government. I'm sure by now you should know me, and I know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The question now is that it is not about me. It's not about the government. These are certain responsibilities of Nigerian youths, whether politics or politicians are there or not. They are entitled to changing their environments. They are entitled to, offering the best innovation that is possible for us to, one, fight COVID, of course, and fight it to the last point, and I'm making the new life, be operable within the society. So the question has always been that you have been so close to a sitting governor. How easy is it fairly that a decent innovation that was developed locally can easily be acceptable to people in that circle of executive leadership? How easy is it that they can actually see need to first at least give a fair trial of that local effort in solving problems?
Okay.
Then
I agree. Okay, a fantastic question, sir.
If I bring back some of the, if you were in with us, we had a professor from Harrisburg University here, the lead consultant on the UN ICT4SIDS. You see, we've heard stories that leaders in this country, they love this tourism on innovation. Take, for instance, we are saying that for us to have a digital economy, we are not going to purchase a digital economy. Digital economy has to be transformed by human beings, by the citizens. Everybody is a player, you understand, in the delivery of smart, connected communities. You understand? So, and we all know how this will work, yes, and what is going to happen. So, but then you realize that people always want to vote. They go after money first. They want to vote money for certain scientific or innovation or technology tours that in the end, they do not really come back home with the desire, because they probably went as if they're going to buy a smart city. The best you can see or go to do is go to see a smart city that other environment has created for its own environment society. But then we have just gone to watch. Coming back, we cannot jump the gun. The question is, how can we really be able to access these people to understand that the way to go is actually helping government? We are actually not contesting, we are not challenging government. We are actually trying to help government. We're actually trying to do what they're doing. But how can we help? Like, I have a whole prof here who has actually left his bed and joined me here all along. This man has been on development, on developing country case for over a decade that I've known him at the United Nations. But then the point I'm making now is that I don't want to always go to the United Nations head of headquarters in New York to keep speaking English. I want to see a situation whereby some of these things are encouraged. Each state government has to take charge. You're not starting with money. Nobody's begging with a dime, but just give that environment for the youth around your area to be shown what to do, and they can actually expand these opportunities to help your governance system. That's all we are saying. As a young man who has been in government, how has this been? Is it rather that easy for them to see with us where this direction, with this direction?
Fantastic question, sir. And you know, I must applaud the question. One of the issues we have faced with people, you know, tech people that have come with these lofty ideas and, you know, smart city ideas is, first, you're coming to, okay, the first thing is, from the way we look at things government-wise is, there's got to be a need. There's got to be like a problem first before you come with a value or a service operation. And many a time, apart from, okay, now let me come a local. Apart from Lagos, a bit of Abuja, I don't think many of the states in Nigeria are on that tech level. I'm not saying there are no tech hubs in each state in Nigeria. I'm saying the acceptability. So if you're coming to sell some tech ideas, some tech values in a state like Oyo, you got to start at the barest minimum. You can't come here and start speaking Python and you know, all that. You've got to start from the basics. And our special advisor, my colleague on ICT then, Niya Jao, was always on the lookout for ideas. You know, he was always attending. If you were to be around, you would have, you know, attended this webinar that you've had. So I would say, in going forward, from my own experience, you don't come to a place where people still see computer as a luxury. With all due respect, you don't come and start selling some top stuff. You've got to start from the bottom. You've got, okay, again, that's one. Then secondly, from one thing that I've learned, the accessibility of these platforms to these people. In Oyo State now, we have a give or take about 6-7 million people. Ibadan is the state capital. But outside of Ibadan, we have about 15, 16, 17 major towns that are not as exposed as Ibadan. So if you're bringing something to sell tech-wise to Ibadan, you've got to figure out, or you've got to put into cognizance the other not too exposed cities, because the governor cannot just do something for Ibadan without the other zones mumbling or grumbling, because that now affects, you know, his perception, and, you know, they think and say he's doing something for just a particular part of the state. So moving forward, if you're bringing an idea, you've got to be able to sell it across oral districts and areas. And I think accessibility to a government now is not as hard as it was before. If you want to catch up with any governor on major things, I can give you my word that their digital media handlers, they are always available. You can always reach them on all social media platforms, or, you know, one of the fastest places to reach them is on Twitter or on LinkedIn. In some cases, I know for El-Rufai still manages his Twitter himself. Or if you want to catch his attention, the fastest way to catch his attention is tweet him continuously that, hey sir, I have something to discuss with you. This is what it is about. Then a copy is a media team. They're also there. So I don't think, you know, the bottleneck process of reaching these people, especially if you're coming with something genuine, if you're coming with something that would really add a value to what they want to say, I think they are now accessible, they are reachable, and in most cases, their emails, their direct emails, sometimes their phone numbers are on their profiles. So I will just summarize this again. Accessibility is now easier than it was before. Make sure that the value that you're adding is not just to is not just to maybe the Yoruba part of a people or the Christian part of a people, because then you're marginalizing, and it might cost him an election, because he's the governor of the whole region, not the governor of, you know, maybe a religious part or a cultural part. So anything that you're doing has got to be accepted across board. I don't know if you're with me. I don't know if that.
I get you.
Okay. So hence, okay, if you're trying to sell something to a governor that only the Christians would use in a Muslim-dominated place, you are looking for he answering you, or he funding the project, or he even giving an ear to it, is looking for trouble, because it's got to always balance everything that he does. Sadly, that is the world that we live in. Sadly, that is the reality of things. And for the assessing part, I believe most of them are now reachable. Most now have essays on media, essays on digital media, essays on ICT, commissioners for information and culture and tech that are always, even their commissioners for education have now been saddled with ICT and digital communications ideas and reaches. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Thank you so much, Father Joe.
Thank you, sir.
I'm quite impressed with that insight. Maybe we can have back Professor Amjad. How are you, sir?
Yes, I am here. Just a minute.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this day. You can see that I actually wanted to have a feel of this this local environment of mine. When I share the past, you may not understand, the way it's been, but quite frankly, above all odds, we are safe, and I think it's good that we can actually do so much to help the environment. Perhaps maybe later on you'll be able to share with us how you think it may be easy to work with us, because you have to be able to work with us. No matter how you do, we will understand whatever the issues have been, and that's why we've been in it for so long. And in the end, we just want a situation whereby solutions should just be made, be used, and they should actually outlive administrations. But then a whole lot of work will need to be done. We're still having a problem with Ajia Aliu of the Bureau of ICT in Bauchi. She's really craving, and she's been stable before when she wasn't speaking, but now her internet is really disturbing her, because she's actually also very passionate, and that's actually the main one. And we also have an essay to the Secretary to Government in Kano State Government that is also being held back, but then as they are available, they'll be able to join us. Maybe I'll also chat up Dr. Mrs. Adebo. So given the light of our educational situation, and you also knowing very well our leadership space, Ma, what do you think is the best way to really channel innovative frameworks that are respected, acceptable, and of course can be promoted by the leadership that we have presently, based on our past experiences?
I think the professor's statement and the last person who spoke nail on the head.
I think you're muted, ma'am.
I'm not.
Sound.
Can you hear me?
Okay, very well.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the professor's statement and the last person who spoke.
The sound is not coming out.
The sound went again. The sound went again.
The sound went again. Can you hear me now?
Not
really. Hold on a minute.
Not really.
Can you hear me?
Not really.
Hello?
Yeah,
oh,
now this is
good.
good.
Very well. Yeah, we can hear you now.
That was good.
Yes.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Very well.
Oh, yes.
Very well.
Okay. I said, I think the professor and the last person who spoke hit the nail on the head. It's not a one size fits all.
Yes.
Each region of Nigeria needs to be approached based on its needs.
Yeah.
So, for example, the way I deal with my schools that I work with, some schools are technology savvy and technology rich, and the focus would be on how to use the technology they have. Then I have some schools where the students and the teachers just do not have any kind of understanding of how to use technology, but they do have cell phones, they have smartphones. So what I do is I take the training that I would normally do using the internet, and I put it on the smartphone. I think as we're approaching the different governments and we're approaching the different sectors, we need to do a SWOT analysis of each sector and come up with a plan specifically for that sector. I like the professor's model, that model where he goes from one step, what country, what part, are you rural, are you rural, are you urban, what the area. I think that's how it all needs to be approached. You can't take Nigeria as just one and create a hub for Nigeria. You have to create a hub for the different areas and look at that, and that's what you present. So if, for example, if you're dealing with the North and you know that they're really, they don't have good internet, then maybe what you need to do is come up with a plan where you use the tools
Exactly.
we have. I am really interested in working with the professor. I am excited because I've always said you can't transfer things that work in America to a place like Nigeria and expect it to work exactly the same in all it just won't work. You have to adapt to your environment. And once you've adapted to your environment, that is the plan you put forward to the government.
That's right. That's right. I think these are very, very important inputs. And I've never made that mistake from time that I feel I would just gloss over these essentials and perhaps otherwise I turn it to a political program, and that is the beginning of its death. So that's been the issue. So we've actually spent so much time in this direction, and the whole idea right now is about the initial education that we plan for the country, as Professor has actually offered us. And I think that will really give us a very good, that would be like a catalyst for us to properly understand how that architecture can actually be taken down. And the more important thing is that the fact that it's going to come free makes it a lot easier that perhaps the caliber of people and the people that really want to participate in that program should be able to have the benefits of that opportunity with Professor Amjad.
Professor.
We now have back. Sorry, okay, Madam, you wanted something?
Yeah, Professor, you keep saying youth. You mean, is there an age limit to participate?
No. I mean mentally young. You understand what I'm trying to say? Okay. The people
my network.
Yeah, I get that.
I have an issue with my network. It's too. I don't know what is happening. It has been on and off. So
okay. Anyway, yeah, I want to explain. Thank you very much for asking the question. I really mean, and I'm sorry, maybe I use the term youth too much, but because I do agree with you, Dr. Robert, that when you talked about educating the young kids, in the high schools and things of that nature. So I do work, of course, with physically young people in the 20s, early 20s to 30s. Type of a range. But what I really am excited about are working with people who are mentally young. Okay. They are willing to learn, they are willing to change their working model, and they are very, very enthusiastic about what they want to do. Okay. That's what I'm interested in.
Thank you so much.
So, does that clarify?
Thank you so much, because I just babbed yesterday, so I'm looking young too. So.
I mean, look,
I was worried about myself.
I am not physically young either, but I am really excited about what I'm doing. So that's important.
Great. So please, let's have Aja Khadija tell you, yeah. So madam, you're welcome. Please take the floor. Hoping your internet will have permit us.
I think she's frozen again. It's frozen again.
Wow, it's really where the internet does.
And that right there is the challenge.
It is.
That, I mean, we're dealing with people who are in this industry, in this sector, and we're having problems with the connectivity.
Yeah, internet is.
So, you know, how does a person in the village deal with it?
It's actually a challenge, and that's why I love that model that you spoke about. That at least certain regions in a society have an option to education at least. They have an option to the right education. Maybe what could be seeming a wrong time for them until they grow it. They grow out of it. Wow, it's really.
Amos.
Yes, madam.
It's 8:30 over here.
Yeah.
And I have another webinar.
We were just trying to see how we can wrap this up, but I wanted to see these other people that are having this challenge, if they could still be able to make it. Otherwise, we'll be able to wrap it up positively, because the major part of what we needed to do is all been done, and that I think I'm very appreciative of. Yeah, I think Ajia is still having an issue. She's a very passionate person when it comes to this program, and just like Sagir too from Kano. And
can I suggest something?
Okay.
Is it possible for her, if she can't get on, for her to record something, send it to you, and then you can share it with the rest of us?
This event is live. Yeah. This event is live right now. It's live on Facebook right now.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying just in case she can't come on.
Very well. Sure. She's actually one of the states that we really would be very happy to work with, and we obviously want to do the best we can to help quite a lot of other people. And we can actually look at the inputs from particularly the media. You see, they are very broad. They have an average idea of Nigeria's problems, and that is why it was just essential getting them involved with the program. So it was just decent. Okay, but then Dr. Mrs. Adebo, one other thing is that your program from the US, and I know you're actually working with quite a lot of networks of teachers in Nigeria.
Right.
I'm sure they are sharing some of these problems already with you, right? So, how then easy could that be that some of the gaps that are perhaps fresh gaps are opening up in the educational sector? How are they feeling? How are they feeling about it?
Well, it's a matter of you do what you have to do and you make it work. A lot of them are realizing that training is the deal. I'm training a lot of teachers. I'm training a lot of schools, and setting it up in a way that will be comfortable for not just the teachers, but for the students and the parents. Some of them, as I said, it's not a one size fits all. Some of them are using purely cell phones because of the low bandwidth, and because the learning curve isn't as great as if you're asking them to do something totally new.
Great.
Mrs. The lady's back on.
Back now. Let's see if you can hear her. Alaja, how are you? Can you hear us? Can you hear us now? Really, so sorry about this. Don't worry, Nigerian Communications Commission is doing quite a lot, and we are moving the broadband. I know, quite frankly, at least the movement is still going. The infrastructure is improving quite all right. We can't say we don't have it. We have.
I'm fine, sir. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Well, madam,
Can you?
please take the floor. Let's hear you a bit.
No, sir. I can hear you.
Let's hear you. Take the floor, madam. So you can go ahead, madam. You can go ahead.
She's gone.
Listen, sorry. She's a very passionate person when it comes to this. Oh, let me just see. I still have. Okay. She's. Right. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
Excellent. Madam, just say a word or two. Let's go. It's clear now.
Hello.
Damn.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Is it possible? Can she possibly call in on the phone? Is there a phone number she can call in?
Okay.
Good
afternoon.
Wow, network is really.
Good afternoon, doctor. Good afternoon.
Okay. That's really bad. That's really bad. Okay. Wow.
As you know, my name is Khadija Ali Yahya. It's the network we have these few days. I don't know what we
really wish. Oh. So that's we can see where our challenge has been, but we live with this. We live with this, and it's not been easy.
I'm trying to see if your Zoom thing has a phone number that she can just call in.
No, I don't think I actually configured it to go with the phone.
Are you sure? Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I think we might just try to wrap it up at this stage, sirs. If Samjad can just give us a rounding up, sir. Any roundup information, sir? I'm sure from the recording we'll be able to reach out to the people that registered. I saw quite a large registration, but very few have been active. But then we'll be able to. Okay, so Prof.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think with the plan ongoing right now, we will be able to, between our end of months, be able to come up with a list of people for that curriculum, and we should be able to make the best use of that because we're going to contact as many other spaces as possible for that initiative, and I think that should be fine. By the time we do that into December 2021, we should be able to have the base to be able to have some trials and further expansion as it were. And I'm happy I'm doing it under my NGO. So it's not a political show. It's not about a political party. And the whole intent is to save the society by this mission. So we're going to do the best we will to share what we plan to do. So in the absence,
okay, great.
Any parting shots, sir?
Or Prof, can I get your phone number so I can deal with, we can collaborate as you suggested? I'll get that.
Yeah, I will send you my email,
Okay.
my email address and share my phone information and all that. So I'm assuming that Amos has your contact information.
Very well.
Yes,
right?
he does.
Very well.
So please share that with me, and Amos knows how to get hold of me.
The lady's back up. Elijah's back up.
Elijah is back. Hello, Elijah.
Yeah, thanks.
Not working.
I don't think it's working.
No.
She's really very passionate. I'm sure Elijah will get across to you both. She's very. She heads the Bureau of ICT in Bauchi State, and that's a very the most functional ICT institution in the state there.
Okay.
Okay. Well, from the media, from the Buhari Media Organization, he's been with us. He's taken his notes, and he actually says he's very impressed too. And well, and our dear brother from also the media, from the past governor who is late now, also shared quite a whole lot, and he was also one of my old staff. Way back. So I think with the kind of architecture and with kind of homework we have offered the society, we'll be able to deliver very shortly, very soon. So thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you so much, other participants in this event today. We've been able to share the bits of.
Thank you, Ms. Amos.
Thank you, Amos.
Hello, sir. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh,
Thank you so much.
Yes. Please,
sorry,
Madam,
sir.
if you can please just share your words.
Let me just have some few words to say. Yeah. Actually, when Dr. was emphasizing about the educational sector, incorporating ICT tools to enhance the education something, I think it's a very good system. Why? Because the government needs to encourage the development of appropriate tools, technology, and application of information and technology in the service to build supportive infrastructure. We know ICT is the bedrock for state survival, and there's no state that will survive without the help of the innovative idea of ICT. I think we have a lot, but my network is not encouraging. So I think the use of ICT can help in knowledge sharing, training on privileged youth, establishing ICT center, empowering women. Let me just be gender distinct, because women in ICT field can, I think, change the world or change the idea of being self-reliant or this thing, or organizing enlightenment campaign about IT among unemployed youths, empowering women by providing special program or look into to improve how to enhance all those areas. I think, I don't know whether you have something to say, but my network is up and doing stuff.
Sorry, that's okay. Oh dear. So I think, okay. Could that be a message? You needed some response from Dr. Martina?
Exactly.
Okay, well, I'm listening to everything you're saying, and I'm saying
absolutely. She'll be in touch with everyone here, so it's like the same person there. So, okay, ma'am, go ahead, ma'am.
I missed the first thing you said. What did you say, Amos?
Okay, no, that even after the program, obviously you have the contacts that she'll be able to. I told you she's actually very, she's actually very crucial point in that state, and it's very critical that you could be able to relate as time goes on, as it were, even with the project.
Okay.
As well. Yeah.
Okay.
Then, if you have any specific response,
ICT, yeah, ICT at its best is a leveler. It's a leveler. It doesn't see gender. It doesn't see disability. It doesn't see it will allow you. It will allow us to bring all of these advantages to these people who are hitherto disadvantaged. But we need to work together, not just on an individual level, but as people who are passionate about this to get it done. Because there's a lot to be put in place. You know, you might want to bake a cake, but if you don't have the ingredients to bake the cake, and if you don't have the oven to bake the cake, wanting does nothing. We have to come together. Programos, Professor, you, the state stakeholders have to come together and say, we have to get this done. We have to get it done for the sake of the next generation. And I like what you're saying. It's really good for women empowerment, for the underserved, underprivileged. It's perfect if we can get it done.
Yep.
Thank you, Ma.
And we must get it.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Khadija, I don't know whether you were you actually there at the time Professor was delivering part of his speech. Did you?
I was able to grab some, but for that of Professor, I think that of Doctor, I think I was able to go through and jot some important points. But I missed that of Prof. I don't know whether I will have some material related to that, so that it can help us.
The video,
thank you.
Will be shared. I'm so, in fact,
for that of Doctor, I have already listened from A to Z. I have grabbed all that she's saying, very important. And there is one this thing I took.
Okay.
Very, very educative, very. And I think it will help us to a lot in ICT term. I think I have something she was saying. Substitutional augmentation, modification, and redefinition. I think, that one is mind-blowing, Ma.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Okay, I think we'll just we will give this program a close at this stage. The video will be available, so obviously we're going to share it. But you agree with me, Programos is there with the next move. Even tomorrow, we'll be having the World Summit Award National Pre-Selection. So if you can still join in tomorrow, the links I also share them. Tomorrow I'm taking products from Nigeria to present to the United Nations database, which is closing by the 30th of September. So if you have innovators from around the country, we try to promote what anybody is doing. And to be frank with you, Nigeria has been winning ever since this is my 10th, 11th year as the eminent national expert on the World Summit in Nigeria. And Nigeria has been winning. So if we have local people who are doing this, why are we feeling we can't solve our problems? So, and the people are there. It's just to just to give them the leveling, the opportunity. You know, like we're talking about ICT4SIDS project. I do not see why you cannot implement ICT4SIDS initiative as a whole in Bauchi State, in Kano State. Sorry that the Bauchi man says.
No, I think with the recent development of this administration, sorry, sir, though in terms of ICT, Bauchi has been left behind. But it seems like this administration have maybe interest towards ICT in implementing so many, especially when it comes to payroll, financial management system, and other things. I think they have interest towards ICT. It's only the only thing is they push. You understand? Sometimes they might get, or maybe they may accept the project, but implementing it becomes an issue. And that is how something will die like that without any. But if we have somebody that, like Programos, yes, I think when you come in as an intermediary between the state government and this, I think we can achieve, the sky is our limit. We can achieve whatever we set us. Yeah.
Because government will always do it like the political team most of the time, so I'm always laid back a bit. But to be frank with you, if we're in need for a good project, for a good result, I mean, it's what we need at this time, and we can't do it alone. We have to do it together. So that's the whole essence. So I must thank everybody. Professor Tu, thank you so much. You see, we have done our best. I'm sure we've done more than we have ever done in 10 years under a COVID. Can you believe that?
We really need you, sir.
We've done so far more than we've done in 10 years, having to be coming to New York almost every year. You know, and sometimes when I come to New York, I run to Houston once in a while because I'm my sister-in-law. Yeah, so once I finish my program.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I have to go.
Oh, great. So thank you so much, Prof.
I just want to thank I want to thank Programos for putting this together. I know your passion. This isn't something new for you. This is something that you have been passionate about for years. And I'm glad that something positive is coming out of COVID. Thank you, Amos. God bless you. I have to go too. I have another webinar in a few minutes.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Oh, look up. You and I.
Yes, it was great. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yep.
I'm sure we'll manage our briefs.
Have a good day.
Thank you very much, sir. Have a nice day, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Have a nice day. Yep.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
God bless you guys for behind. Thank you so much.